Every day we wake up and what? Go to work, raise the kids, pay the bills.
And maybe, every once in a while, we stop and look around so we don't miss it. And that's life. But big picture, things could look a lot different. For human civilization, the sky is not the limit. Outer space is the limit. Unless there's something else beyond outer space, maybe something like a multiverse, in which case that's the limit. But how do we even get all the way out there from down here on Earth? And should we even be trying to do that in the first place, given all of our other responsibilities? Plus, these days, a lot of outer space activity comes from a few mega-billionaires. What's up with that? The simple answer is we just build some spaceships and we go expand up to outer space. The complicated answer, or rather the simple answer on the other side of the complexity, an answer that accounts for the messy realities of space travel and our normal day-to-day responsibilities, plus social and ethical issues like wealth inequality. That's basically what I've spent my entire career studying, and it's what I'll cover on this channel. Let's start with some basics. This is Tel Es Sultan, an archaeological site located in the West Bank of Palestine in the outskirts of the city Jericho. These are the remains of what was the oldest fortified city in the world, founded about 12,000 years ago, in the same region and about the same time as the first invention of agriculture. Agriculture was also independently invented in several other places around the world. 12,000 years ago, the entire world population was around 2 or 4 million people. That's about as many people as the camera's pointed to over there. The daytime, weekday population of Manhattan is around 4 million. Midtown might have 1 million on its own. Past that, you hit some of the most populous parts of Long Island, including almost all of Queens and parts of Brooklyn. That's 2 million easily, and I'm guessing you hit 4 million before the ocean. Just imagine if we took those people and let them survive, and everyone else is dead. Personally, I'm glad to be alive, but in a world with only a few million people, I probably wouldn't be alive, and neither would you. We don't have exact population records from back then, but we do know our population kept growing, slowly at first, doubling maybe every 1 or 2,000 years. Zooming out, we see it hit around 200 million in year 0 of our common calendar. Then, it started to grow faster. Instead of doubling every 1 or 2,000 years, it doubled every few hundred years, and in the 1900s, once every 50 years, up to 8 billion people. Listen. I thought I knew why we had such a population boom in the last few centuries, the Industrial Revolution. I even had an earlier draft of this video with a fun little segment about the steam engine, the cotton spinner, machine tools, hot blast metallurgy, and along the way, we invented railroads and spaceships and computers, and we could even work from home. It makes sense. The Industrial Revolution was important. It was around the same time as the population boom, and the idea is out there. There's even a video from the famous demographer Hans Rosling saying it.
And then, with the Industrial Revolution, the world changed.
But upon closer inspection, it looks like there's more to the story. The Industrial Revolution started in Great Britain in the mid-1700s and spread around the world from there. But when did the population really start to boom? Zooming in on the last millennium, after a slow period, there were 3 centuries of robust population growth from 1400 to 1700. Then it really took off in the 1700s when the Industrial Revolution was just getting started and only in Great Britain. The early population boom must have been caused by something else. I'm guessing there's an answer to this out there, but I don't know what it is. Maybe improved hygiene and sanitation and agricultural techniques bolstered by the rise of global travel and trade? Whatever it is, it's clear that we've come a long way since the days of Tel Es Sultan. Looking ahead to the future, human civilization could continue for a long time. A really long time. Scientists estimate that we could continue living on Earth for about 1 billion more years until the sun gets too hot for life as we know it to survive. If we can expand into outer space, we could continue for much, much longer. The science I've seen says we may have 10 to the 100 years, which is a Google years. Now, this is not my expertise, but my understanding is that the science here is not fully settled, in which case we may have even longer, maybe even forever, an infinite amount of time. And even if that's not possible, even just a Google years is still quite a lot, and that's just for the dimension of time. In 1972, the book Limits to Growth was published. Using computer simulations, it warns that human pollution and natural resource consumption may be unsustainable and could lead to the collapse of the human population in what is now the near future. It was an important work in the history of environmentalism. It brought attention to the idea that we live on a finite planet. The book got some details wrong, but the basic premise is correct. We do live on a finite planet. This one, Earth, the pale blue dot. It is a small world after all, but it is a really, really large universe. Just in our own galaxy, the Milky Way, there might be tens of billions of planets fit for us to live on, and across the entire universe, there might be 1 trillion galaxies. If you do the math, that's a lot. 10 to the 22 or 10 sextillion planets, each of which might be able to host billions of people plus other living beings. Remember, in a world with only a few million people, almost all of us wouldn't be alive. Likewise, in a universe with only one inhabited planet, almost all of the living beings that could be alive aren't alive. But what about aliens? For all we know, in our universe right now, some of those other planets could be inhabited by extraterrestrial beings. But we've been searching for decades, and we still don't have any definitive evidence that there are any out there. They might be out there, but for all we know, Earth could be the only inhabited planet across the universe. Likewise, human civilization could be the only opportunity to bring life to tens of sextillions of planets across the universe. I think we should, but the stakes here are astronomically large, so it's worth giving this some careful thought. Some philosophers argue that we should leave the rest of the universe alone in its natural form to preserve its beauty and its connection to its astronomical past. However, this raises the idea that humans may be part of nature too, made up of the same atoms in our food and our air. And whatever value there may be in preserving the rest of the universe, it needs to be weighed against the potential for it blossoming with life. Another argument is that all this outer space stuff is just escapist nonsense, a distraction from our responsibilities here on Earth, or worse, a hollow plaything for billionaires that causes a huge amount of pollution. Okay, first of all, there's an important rule in this world for escapist nonsense. Everybody needs a break, and if you're just watching these videos for entertainment, that's great, I'm glad you like it. Maybe do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. But it's true, we do need to handle our responsibilities, and we should also address issues like extreme wealth inequality. Remember, we still have 1 billion years left on Earth. That should be plenty of time to expand to outer space in a morally responsible manner. Unless something really bad happens first, an extreme global catastrophe like large-scale nuclear war or a pandemic far worse than COVID-19. A catastrophe so bad it prevents us from ever making it to outer space. And oh, by the way, it also kills most of us, and that's pretty bad too. So what's the simplicity on the other side of the complexity? Well, you could almost just say, avoid global catastrophe now and figure the rest out later. But that's too simple, because one, how do you avoid global catastrophe? That's a complex question right there. And two, we do still need to handle our responsibilities and address those other issues. The simple answer is, there is no one single simple answer. Instead, there are many simple answers, each depending on a different set of complex factors. An answer for nuclear war may be different from an answer for pandemics. An answer for the United States may be different from an answer for Indonesia. An answer for you, person watching this video, may be different from an answer for you, other person watching this video. Besides, if there was just one simple answer, then you wouldn't need to watch the other videos I'm planning for this channel. Or for my other channel. I work as co-founder and executive director of the Global Catastrophic Risk Institute, a nonprofit and nonpartisan think tank that studies extreme threats to human civilization. I'm launching a separate channel for the Institute to cover core fundamentals of global catastrophic risk. On this channel, the Seth Baum channel, I'll share my own personal perspectives. I'd say this channel is where I get to really be myself and let my hair down, but well... It makes sense. The Industrial Revolution was important. It was around the same time as the population boom. Bugs! It makes sense